Chapter 1641. The memories before she lost consciousness flooded Olivia. She could only remember the sudden pain in her neck before she fell into a swoon. When she finally regained her composure, she realized that the room seemed familiar. She didn't feel well as she had just woken up, especially her head. It felt heavy, clouded by a weight of grogginess. We're at Elora village. You've been cursed, so I was wondering if Madam Wendy could help us out. Ethan hugged her gently. She nestled her head in his arms. Is it a powerful curse, Ethan? Can she lift it? Near-death experiences were not new to her, hence her relatively calm voice. It's a troublesome one, Liv. Your life and Jacqueline's are bound together. It's either you live or die together. Madam Wendy is at her wit's end. Only the witch that cast the curse knows what can be done. I see. Did something happen to Jacqueline? I felt like I was suffocating. I think so. He then cooed. Don't worry, Liv. Jacqueline is just trying to have room for negotiation by holding you hostage. The other party cast a curse on you for her. As long as we do as they say, you'll be fine. What if they want us to let her go? Olivia asked. Liv, as long as it means you'll be fine, I'll do whatever they say, Ethan said firmly. But, she lifted her head in his arms. You know that she's the cause of my misery. My family was hurt because of her too. If we let her go, we might not be able to find her anymore. None of us wants her to stay alive. All we wish is for her to die. But Liv, she's nothing when it comes to you. I don't want anything else other than keeping you alive. Silence dawned upon Olivia. Ethan patted her back lightly. No more overthinking. If you don't feel well, how about getting some rest? Are you hungry? No. Take me for a walk. Sure. Ethan could never leave her side after what had happened. There wasn't a moment when he let go of her hand. When they reached the middle of the yard, Olivia pointed at one of the rooms. That was the room you stayed in back then. Although his vision was impaired, those days were his happiest moments. It's fortunate that I had you. In all these years, those days were my happiest. If only Olivia wasn't under a curse, Ethan would have been able to have peace of mind. Calvin and the others were guarding outside the room while Wendy was inside. It wasn't the time for Ethan to be inside, so he stayed with the group. Call me if you need anything, said Ethan. Okay. Olivia entered the room. Jacqueline seemed miserable, but she wasn't surprised to see Olivia awake. You're awake. It seems like the curse has settled itself in your body. Leia looked at Olivia. Are you okay? Leia sounded awkward, but the concern was evident in her eyes. Olivia shook her head. No, when I woke up, I felt like I was drowning in water. That's right. You're going to share the pain I feel from now onward, Olivia Fordham. Jacqueline dementedly. She gave the others a triumphant gaze. Any other creative ways to torture me? Bring it on. Whether it's fatal or just painful, Olivia's going to experience the same thing do. Leia recalled what she had done to Jacqueline. Did Olivia feel suffocated because of that? Ridiculous. It was just a curse. How could it affect Olivia that much? Wendy said solemnly. She's right. Chapter 1642. Olivia looked at Wendy. What happened? Jacqueline asked someone to cast a life-bond curse on you. The curse settled in you within 24 hours, and now, your life is bound with hers. From now onward, you'll share the pain. But I didn't know that you'd feel the pain so vividly. The witch is powerful, Wendy recounted. At this moment, Wendy thought it was so fortunate that she didn't get ahead of herself by breaking the curse for Olivia. This wasn't any ordinary curse, it was a refined one. Just like how science would improve every day, the abandoned minority curses had been cast to oblivion. Only a few people still sustained the practice, the powerful witches. Jacqueline rested against the rim of the bathtub with an expression of a winner. I'm glad you know. It's not only our lives, she can feel anything that I do. If you want her to suffer with me, you're welcome to torture me. Olivia did feel unwell when she woke up. She brushed it off as soreness from the long hours of sleep. It turned out that the reason was Jacqueline. Thinking back, the dull sense of pain Olivia felt all over her body was probably due to Jacqueline's old injuries. Leia, who thought that Jacqueline was acting weird, finally wrapped her head around the situation. Guilt gripped Leia's heart when she thought of her actions that had hurt Olivia. I'm sorry. She had already owed Olivia way too much to begin with. The reason Leia didn't opt for suicide was because she wanted to atone for her sins. Although it was unintentional, the guilt was stifling. Leia had done so many cruel things to Olivia. They weren't on good terms, and Olivia didn't have a reason to forgive her. In the end, Olivia chose to ignore Leia's apology. Olivia looked at Jacqueline. Let's talk after you shower. Jacqueline met Olivia's eyes, expecting to see nervousness and fear in them. However, to her surprise, Olivia appeared calm even after learning the truth. It was that pair of eyes that had witnessed many things in life. You've changed a lot, Jacqueline blurted out. She had watched Olivia grow. Jacqueline had started to watch Olivia even before Ethan knew Olivia, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to say that Jacqueline was the person who understood Olivia the most. Jacqueline was the reader of Olivia's life chapters from when Olivia was an innocent woman until today. Steel of heart, that was what Olivia had since a long time ago. I'll be waiting outside. Olivia didn't respond to that. Having not consumed anything for 24 hours, Olivia was hungry. By the time she came out of the room, Ethan had already asked someone to make pasta for her. It's nothing much, but I hope you'll make do with it. She flashed him a smile. Well, this is considered a luxury here. She took her time savoring the pasta at the dining table. Instead of a cursed victim, she appeared more like a tourist on a trip. When Jacqueline left the room, Ethan was sitting next to Olivia peeling oranges for her while Olivia was still having the pasta. Willow was with them too. No one said a word, but the silence painted a wholesome picture. Chapter 1643. Olivia looked at Jacqueline. Grab something to eat first. Now, it wasn't only Olivia's and Jacqueline's lives that were bound together, the same went for their body condition. Despite their deep-rooted resentment, everyone had to treat Jacqueline well for Olivia's sake. Nevertheless, Olivia's eyes carried tranquility. She acted so differently from others, who were grappling with hatred. She even told Ethan to ask someone to tend to Jacqueline. Okay, he didn't have any opinion about it. With one look from Ethan, Brent began treating Jacqueline's wound. After finishing her meal, Olivia even instructed him to treat the wound and tie the bandage more neatly. Fury was boiling within Kelvin. Mrs. Miller, why are you being so nice to her? She has caused you so much harm. If it were me, I'd want to tie that bandage as tightly as possible. Olivia studied Kelvin for a while before smiling. It's been so many years, and you haven't changed one bit. Still jumpy as before. Yeah, I'm not like you, Mrs. Miller. Olivia tucked her hair behind her ear, and a light smile plastered across her lips. I'm cursed, but I'm lucky to still be breathing. Instead of wasting time thinking about the unfortunate, why don't we think of how to deal with the problem we have at the moment? Olivia had so much time to kill. Her hand reached for the disinfectant to disinfect Jacqueline's wound. Mixed feelings churned in Jacqueline. In the past, when Olivia was oblivious to Jacqueline's existence, Jacqueline had always seen Olivia as an enemy. The worse Olivia's life was, the happier Jacqueline would be. The angrier Olivia became, the better Jacqueline's mood would be. The picture Jacqueline had in her mind was Olivia getting angry or pleading with her after gaining consciousness. But Olivia's reaction was infuriating. Stop pretending. You must hate me to the bones right now. Jacqueline gritted her teeth. Olivia calmly responded, I do hate you. I'm treating your wounds because I don't want them to be infected. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want to suffer the pain. I'm not that magnanimous. The glint in her eyes was as tranquil as her tone, void of vehement emotions. Jacqueline didn't know that Olivia's intense emotions were exhausted in those years. Having risen from the ashes, it wasn't easy for Olivia to gain a new life. Naturally, she wouldn't lose her cool over small matters like before. Jacqueline couldn't accept such a reaction from Olivia. It was supposed to be her win. That was what Jacqueline thought, yet Olivia didn't plead with her. Olivia finished bandaging Jacqueline's wound. Done. Let's talk about your condition. I want $2 billion in a foreign account, demanded Jacqueline as though she had regained dominance in the room. She was planning to recover everything that she had lost. Since her identity was exposed, this was her only way to get easy money. Even if she chose to do nothing to earn a living in the future, that money would be enough for her to spend for the rest of her life. Okay, no problem. The generous Ethan was thinking of using his own money. Jacqueline added, secondly, I want the antidote for the cancerous serum Olivia injected in me. She didn't want to die at a young age. She needed the antidote while there was still time to keep the cancerous cells under control. Olivia coolly agreed, all right. Anything else? Yes. I want her to kneel before me. Jacqueline pointed right at Leia's nose. Chapter 1644. Leia had tortured Jacqueline so cruelly and almost drowned her just a while ago. Jacqueline and Leia were the same kind of people, cruelty ran in their blood. This was a chance for Jacqueline to avenge herself. As Olivia's enemy, Leia knew that this wasn't a difficult condition for Olivia. Leia meant nothing to Olivia. The glint in Leia's eyes turned cold when she heard that condition. But she could only rein her anger in for Olivia's sake. After all, she owed it to Olivia. Clenching her fists, Leia tried to keep her cool. Ethan frowned upon hearing that. But Ethan shared the same notion as Leia, they owed Olivia. That was why he stayed silent, agreeing to the condition alongside Leia. No, Olivia rejected, and everyone looked at her. No one saw it coming. Why? Think about what she did to you. Are you feeling sorry for her? This is a different matter. Settle your scores with Leia yourself. This is between you and me. I don't have the right to drag someone else into this. Jacqueline coldly snorted. Do you know what I hate about you the most? The fact that you always put yourself above everyone and sympathize with others. Women can never keep their positions without cruelty. You'll lose your footing one day because of your generosity. If money is the only thing you want, you can contact that person behind you. We'll give you money, and you'll lift the curse on me. Jacqueline was also cursed. Both the women needed to get rid of it as soon as possible. Other than $2 billion, I need a hostage to guarantee my safety. Hostage. In your dreams, Olivia refused without a second thought. Jacqueline glared. Olivia, you're powerful. After I lift the curse and run away, I'm sure I'll be caught in no time. What else do I need a hostage for? Don't worry, I'll take the money and live in a place where people don't know me. If you let me go, I'll let the hostage go as well. I can be the hostage, Ethan offered. Olivia subconsciously grabbed his hand. How could she let him be the hostage when Jacqueline was such a calculating fox? What do you take me for, Mr. Miller? An idiot. With you as my hostage, I might die before I realize it. I want her to be my hostage. Jacqueline pointed at Willow. Your daughter. She's young and doesn't pose a threat to me. She's the best candidate. No way I'm going to agree to that. Olivia cared about her children more than anything in this world. She risked her life, giving birth to them. How could she put Willow in a dangerous situation? The sound of the bell ringing resounded. Willow came up to them and gestured at Olivia. I can do it, Mom. She was willing to do anything as long as she could save her mother. Despite their young age, Olivia's children knew how rough she had. If Olivia hadn't put up with the hardships, she would have passed long ago. Although she couldn't speak, Willow was content to be with her family. Mom, let me be the hostage. Chapter 1645. Olivia hugged Willow. Willow, I know you're doing this for me. But I'll never put you in danger no matter what happens. Jacqueline's record was far off the scale of cruelty. Plus, she hated Olivia the most in the world. How could Olivia let her daughter be the hostage with peace of mind? Willow shook her head, trying her best to convince Olivia. I'm not afraid, Mom. Olivia tightened her arms gently around her. But I'm scared, Willow. I risked my life to bring you to this world, baby. You're my precious daughter. Since I've brought you to this world, I should be responsible for you. No matter what the future holds, I'll never let you face the consequences. Ethan finally knew the reason behind his children's bright personalities. It was because Olivia would never give up on them. She was determined to protect them, and they grew up loving her. Love should never be a one-sided thing. Olivia comforted Willow before looking at Jacqueline. No one can be your hostage. I can only offer you the freedom to decide the venue of the deal. That's my limit. Don't forget that you have a life bond curse on you too. What are you gloating about, Olivia? I'm suffering from the curse, and so are you. I'll make sure you feel the same pain that I do. Do you think that scares me? I've been suffering for half of my life. Olivia snorted coldly. Jacqueline had never seen Olivia acting so firm before. Olivia continued, "Get back to your senses, Jacqueline. Look who's the one controlling the situation right now. You can't do whatever you want. You want to negotiate. I can offer you a chance. If you don't want to take it, be prepared for what's coming for you." Then, Olivia left with Willow without sparing a glance at Jacqueline. Just because Jacqueline had the life bond curse, everyone was being careful around her for fear that they might indirectly hurt Olivia. Their blood was boiling from fury, but none of them dared to let off steam. In the end, Olivia was the one who stepped up to teach Jacqueline a lesson. Ethan ordered, "Give her a room and keep an eye on her. We'll let her out whenever she's ready to talk." "Yes, sir." It had been a long time since Olivia last visited Elora village. She and Willow wandered around the village, acting as if Olivia wasn't a victim of the curse. Olivia had helped out the villagers a lot during those years, so they adored her. For instance, the Water Conservancy project resolved the water shortage. The only thing was that only a few of them knew her face. Now that they had seen her face, they understood why Willow could be so pretty. Olivia led Ethan back to the cave, where they first reconciled. Exotic floras filled the cave as their scent lingered in the air. "I didn't know that it was so pretty. There weren't only butterflies dancing around. A few fawns were playing by the lake too." Olivia took her dress off to take a dip in the water. Tranquility settled in her features. She showed no signs of fear toward the curse. The sun cast a sheen of light on her, and she seemed to glow. A while later, she opened her eyes and met Ethan's. "Why are you looking at me like that? You've changed, Liv." Ethan was at a loss for words to describe Olivia. No longer the innocent woman she was, she had become mature and sophisticated. Yet, she was so different from others. She hooked her finger at him, and he bent over. Pulling him by the necktie, she kissed his lips. "Wind down when you have the time. The small things that bring joy are the way to the truth in life. Stop worrying about the future and enjoy the present. Life isn't that hard, actually." Chapter 1646. Olivia lured Ethan into the water. Some flashbacks came to his mind. It was the time when he was visually impaired and Olivia kept by his side to treat him. Now that they were back at the same place, it felt different and special. The water rippled as Olivia began removing his clothes. Her hands rested on his body. She whispered into his ear softly, "Relax, Ethan." Olivia could tell that everyone was on edge ever since she was cursed, especially Ethan. Perhaps it didn't affect her that much due to her past near-death experiences. She should have died 3 years ago, but she managed to survive such a malleable. Every day thereafter felt like a steal to her. Furthermore, she was able to find her true family. She didn't have any regrets in life anymore. The future no longer concerned her. All she wanted to do was to enjoy the present. The long-lost joy kept Ethan's worries and anxiety at bay. He tightly hugged Olivia's body as if trying to be one with her. The deeply rooted fear in him felt real. It wasn't easy to find the love of his life, but she might leave his side again. Even when the surface of the water slowly smoothed from the ripples, Ethan didn't let her go. "You have to stay alive, Liv." Olivia gently looked into his worried gaze. Her fingertips traced his brows. "Okay, I want to return to Aldenvine," said Ethan softly. Although their families weren't in Aldenvine, it was the place the two lived together. To Ethan, Aldenvine was their home. "I'll ask someone to redecorate our marital house. Let's put up our family picture when we return home. Even if your father is going to kill me, I don't want to be separated from you again." She chuckled at his childish tone. Sure. Hugging the woman of his love, Ethan rested his chin on her head. It had been a while since they shared such an intimate moment. The time they spent together felt great, but the joy heightened especially after they had been separated for so long. Separation had been the run of the mill for them, peace hardly came to them. "Liv, I still remember you lying in my arms so tenderly when you were pregnant. It felt like it just happened yesterday. Yet, in a blink of an eye, they were parents of 4. Even Connor had grown so much. Time flew so fast. I know, right? I really wanted twins back then. The boy would look like you, and the girl would look like me. But unfortunately, Ethan grabbed her hand. I'm sorry. It's in the past now, she cooed. Her life was tragic those years, but she glossed it over with 5 words. Who else in the world could move on so coolly like she did? The night came, and her fair skin made her glow in the dark. Although her skin wasn't as soft as when she was younger, she was still breathtaking. Ethan couldn't help but plant another kiss on her forehead. Suddenly, she frowned and pressed her chest. It hurts. Liv, it's the curse again. It took Ethan seconds to realize what was going on. When Wendy said that the 2 women's lives were bound together, he thought of using the curse to control Jacqueline. However, the curse was way too strong. Other than their lives, they would also share the pain. On the other hand, Jacqueline fell off the bed. Ouch. Chapter 1647. Olivia could feel the pain, but it wasn't a 10 out of 10. Still, the pain was unbearable. No one knew how painful it was for Jacqueline. The excruciating pain reached every part of Jacqueline's body. Like a pair of invisible hands, something was tearing her heart. Save me, help me, she rolled on the floor while scratching the uneven surface. The fact that her nicely manicured nails were ruined didn't bother her because it didn't hurt as much as the turmoil in her body. Meanwhile, Leia was watching the scene by the side. Her eyes held no emotions. She neither added fuel to the fire nor helped Jacqueline. Jacqueline mustered every strength in her to crawl toward Leia. Leia Miller, save me. It hurts so much. Leia crouched before her, grabbing her chin. You had this coming, Jacqueline. We gave you a chance, but you didn't take it. That old hag has the antidote, doesn't she? Tell her to give it to me. Olivia won't have it better anyway. Jacqueline mentioned Olivia, trying to take advantage of their relationship with Olivia. Unfortunately for you, Olivia told us not to give you the antidote no matter what happens. Take your time to feel the pain, Jacqueline. Pain distorted Jacqueline's features, slowly driving her to insanity. She even began hitting her head against the surface. Kill me. Just end my life for good. Leia was slightly surprised because she didn't know the curse was this strong. She motioned for the bodyguards to tie Jacqueline onto a chair to prevent further suicide attempts. Tears were brimming in Jacqueline's bloodshot eyes. Although she was bound and gagged, her body was writhing in pure agony. The brighter the moonlight shone, the redder her eyes became. Her body was drenched in sweat, and her face was distorted due to the pain. A muffled sound came out of her mouth, which had been stuffed with a sock. Meanwhile, Ethan was hugging Olivia tightly. I'll go talk to Madam Wendy. There has to be a way. If we lift the curse off Jacqueline, you won't have to suffer anymore. Olivia grabbed his sleeve. No, soaked in sweat, she was barely hanging onto her life. I don't feel the pain on a full scale. Only a part of it. She's having it worse than me. This is our only bargain to negotiate with her. Are you really going to make Willow a hostage? But you, she managed a faint smile. I'm fine. I managed to survive that painful illness, didn't I? This is nothing. Jacqueline's different. She was raised in a rich family. She can never put up with this kind of pain. We just need one night. Trust me, she'll change her mind tomorrow. Her voice was shaking. Ethan wiped the sweat off her forehead. Why do you have to put yourself in pain, Liv? This is my only way out, Ethan. It's only for a night. My past experiences were way worse than this, but I got through them. Unable to help her, Ethan hugged her. She grabbed his hand. The red scratches on his arm didn't bother her. I'll be by your side always, Liv. You won't be alone again. That night, Jacqueline thought she had been to hell several times. Pain constantly knocked her out and woke her up from unconsciousness. Instead of a night, it felt like eons. When the sky finally brightened, the throbbing sensation in her chest finally subsided. Someone removed the sock from her mouth. I want to see Olivia. That was the first thing Jacqueline said. Chapter 1648. Compared to Jacqueline, who was in agony, Olivia appeared to be fine. Her face was even glowing. Jacqueline couldn't believe her eyes. How are you fine? We share our senses. If I'm in pain, you should be too. Sorry to disappoint you, but it's not that painful for me. I heard that you had it rough last night. You almost broke, Olivia retorted. Jacqueline wasn't buying it. That person clearly told her that he spent years inventing the curse just for Olivia. This was her trump card. If her identity was exposed, she could take advantage of the curse that bound her with Olivia. However, it seemed like Olivia wasn't affected by the curse one bit. Jacqueline was losing confidence. Olivia continued, from now onward, you'll be experiencing the same pain on every full moon. And it'll hurt more every time it gets you. I don't mind. I can play along with you for the rest of my life. Let's see how far you can go. Jacqueline dreaded the thought of going through the same experience again. She looked skinnier after these 2 days. If she was going to suffer from the same torture every full moon, she'd rather die. No, let's talk, Jacqueline quickly said. That's more like it. You'd better show your sincerity. If you're trying to play tricks again, I won't mind joining the game with you, Olivia warned. People like Jacqueline feared death more than Olivia did. After all, someone brought Jacqueline out of the impoverished mountain, and she led a good life thereafter. She had good food to eat and nice clothes to wear every single day. Why would she choose death when she had such a great life? It took one night to make her change her mind. Ethan hurriedly made the necessary arrangements. He brought the ladies to a small town so that Jacqueline could contact the person. She hid in a corner to recount everything that had happened to the other party. The phone call lasted for about 10 minutes. He can lift the curse, but you have to go to an island we choose. Only 3 of you can go. 3? No way. Who knows if it's a trap? If we can't guarantee our safety, we don't mind wasting time with you, Ethan refused without a second thought. 3 people. That meant only Olivia, a witch, and someone else who could act as a bodyguard could go. Jacqueline stomped her foot. Why would I trick you when I'll be in hell on every full moon? That island is your territory. Who knows what would happen? We can go to my island. Well, that's your territory. Even if the curse is lifted, I won't know if I'm going to be alive or not, she barked. They began disputing over the venue. In the end, Ethan compromised. Since we don't trust each other, let's meet up on an island of another country tonight. There's no point dragging this any longer. After that, we'll leave it to fate if you're caught or not. No, if you want to catch me, start the pursuit 3 days later. If I'm going to get caught right after the curse is lifted, what's the point of me going through all this? Jacqueline then glared at Olivia. Didn't you say you want to know your mother's whereabouts? If you promise me this and the money, I'll tell you where she is 3 days later. She treated me well all these years. I don't want her to die either. Okay, where should we meet? Olivia asked. Saya Island. It belongs to Carathea, an enemy of Arlandia. Wayne's territory. Jacqueline sure had a stroke of luck with her pick. Fine by me, Olivia agreed. Chapter 1649. That wasn't it. Jacqueline added another condition. You have to transfer $2 billion to a certain foreign account within 2 hours. It's only considered done after we confirm the money is there. Ethan coolly accepted the condition. Deal. On it. After he left, Jacqueline said to Olivia, don't blame me. We did switch places, but many people love you. You have children too. Once the curse is lifted, you'll be Miss Fordham. They'll make up for everything that you've missed out on in the past. Her understatement made it seem like Olivia was the one who took advantage of her. As of today, Olivia had been through many near-death experiences. Even Olivia's closest acquaintances passed on because of Jacqueline. Yet, Jacqueline didn't mention them. Why are you looking at me like that? Did I say something wrong? I didn't kill your adoptive father. He died because he was unlucky. Olivia, who was having tea, slammed the teacup on the table. Before Jacqueline knew it, she was grabbed by the collar and slapped on the cheek. Olivia Fordham, how dare you? She growled, but Olivia didn't stop there. She didn't hold herself back, and her eyes were flaring in rage. I never once forgot what you've done to me, Jacqueline. If you don't want your rotten life anymore, I can grant your wish anytime you want. You're the last person who can say anything about my life. Let me go. Jacqueline was surprised by Olivia's sudden violence. It took so much of me to get out of hell. Death doesn't fear me. Unlike you, my life was a mess. Threatening me with my life is useless. Olivia blurted, frankly speaking, I have wanted to chop you into pieces since long ago. Then, she flung a punch at Jacqueline without bothering about Jacqueline's desperate screams. Having been through special training, Olivia knew which body part would hurt the most. Even if she would need to experience the pain, she had to let the steam off this time. Jacqueline hid her fangs, trying to catch her breath. Stop. Stop it. Olivia looked at Jacqueline, who had curled up into a ball on the floor. This isn't the end between us, Jacqueline. 3 days later, I'll find you wherever you are at all costs. The next time we meet will be your D-Day, you filthy rodent. When Ethan returned to the room, Jacqueline was still on the floor. She expected him to stop Olivia because of the curse. But his response was out of expectation. Does it hurt? He was worried about Olivia's hand. Olivia reciprocated a smile, a little, but I do feel better. Let's go meet up the witch. I'm curious about this master witch. Ethan hummed, and they left while holding hands. When they went outside, he dialed a number. I'll take this call as a declaration of war, man. The other party sounded like he had just woken up. I need your help. The person scoffed. Are you asking a favor or threatening me? Show your sincerity. Beg me. Ethan lit a cigarette under a tree. His voice was sandpaper rough. What if I say Liv's life is on it? She's cursed. It's a life bond curse. If we don't lift it off her, she'll die when the bound person dies. How useless. You can't even protect a woman. There was a change of tone in his voice. How can I help? Chapter 1650. Olivia and her family flew to Saya Island with Jacqueline. To Jacqueline's surprise, Olivia brought Willow along instead of a bodyguard. I'm warning you, don't play tricks with me unless you don't want to know where your mother is. We agreed only 3 people. Nothing more than that. Don't worry, my daughter knows to cast some curses. She can lift the heart devour curse off you. Jacqueline frowned while sizing up Willow, obviously looking down upon the child. She knows how to use curses. Do you take me as a 3-year-old? You should switch her with someone else. Olivia and Ethan had grown up in a rich family. How would they know curses? Jacqueline reminded them, keep in mind that you have to lift the heart devour curse off me first or I won't ask them to lift the curse off you. You'll gain nothing from trying to fool me with a kid. Olivia smiled, not replying to that. It wasn't only curses that Willow knew, but Olivia wouldn't reveal everything about Willow. That was their trump card. Willow was their best player. The flight lasted for a few hours. They arrived at Saya Island before sunset. It was unpopulated. Most of the indigenous people had gone many years ago. The number of soldiers was more than that of indigenous people because it was a strategic place for military purposes. That was the reason why Jacqueline chose this place. The hostility between Arlandia and Carathea wasn't something new. This would put Ethan and Olivia at a disadvantage. Olivia got off the plane smoothly and warmed up her limbs. The breeze caressed her cheeks as she looked at the coconut trees that filled the place. Someone was selling coconut drinks nearby. Ethan bought 2, one for Olivia and one for Willow. Willow smiled at him, showing gratitude. He stroked her head in response. Drink it. It must have been a tiring journey for you. Buy me one, Ethan. I'm thirsty, Jacqueline requested. Put up with it, replied Ethan without looking back at her. You. Before she could throw a tantrum, he suddenly looked back at her menacingly. Everything in me is screaming to drain every drop of blood out of you. Wanna try a bloody coconut drink? You're insane. Although her hands were tied, her legs weren't. She walked up to Olivia. No wonder you wanted a divorce. He's a madman. Does he abuse his family? Receiving zero response, Jacqueline was frustrated. She followed the couple as Willow walked side by side with her. Jacqueline teased, you're her only child who can't speak. I'm sure they'll abandon you someday. This kind of joke had always worked for young kids. She wanted Willow to cry. However, Willow rolled her eyes at Jacqueline instead. It was as if she was watching a clown. At that moment, Jacqueline thought that she was acting like a child. How could you be this rude, kid? No wonder you're dumb. Before she could finish, Olivia shoved a handful of sand into her mouth. You might as well shut up if you're just full of idiotic words. Jacqueline coughed, trying to spit out the salty substance in her mouth. Olivia Fordham, you idiot. Jacqueline, someone called her. It was a familiar voice.